We are learning a new reason today, but before we get into our new reason, which Yolanda has already alluded to, I just want to make sure we're all happy with the 2 reasons we have done so far. Okay, so remember what we're focusing on right now is triangle geometry. And so we thus far have learned 2 triangle reasons. The first one is that we know that the 3 interior angles of a triangle add up to 180. So if I take the 3 angles inside my triangle and I add them together, I will always get 180 degrees. Doesn't matter what type of triangle it is, it's always 180. And the second reason that we learned is that when we have an exterior angle of a triangle, so a triangle that's outside our triangle, it is equal to the sum of the 2 opposite interior angles. So basically, if we look at our diagram, angle C plus angle B will give us angle A. That's what the exterior, that is what the exterior angle of a triangle reason tells us. And again, our reason there, exterior angle of a triangle. I'm very sorry if you can hear hammering right now. I don't know what my upstairs neighbor's doing. They were doing this at like 11 o'clock last night as well, and I wanted to cry. I apologize. Hopefully someone will shout at them, but if you can hear it, I'm sorry. Those are the 2 reasons that we have learned so far. So sum of angles in a triangle, an exterior angle of a triangle. As we learn more and more, and I've said this to you before, and I'll continue to say it to you, we need to be able to apply our reasons in several different scenarios. So we're going to start getting questions where we have to solve for like 3, 4, 5, 7 angles. And we have to use all of the geometric reasons that we know in order to get those answers. Okay, but to start us off, what I want you guys to try is, I feel like we've done this question. So what I want you guys to try are these 2 questions over here. Like we did the first one, so that's why I'm ignoring the first one. So I'm just going to renumber this. Question 1, question 2. You're going to try them by yourselves because, again, it's using the reasons that we have done. So it's nothing new. You are absolutely okay to do yourselves. So using those 2 reasons, sum of angles in a triangle, as well as exterior angle of a triangle, I want you in question A to work out the value of question 1 to work out the value of X. And then in question 2 to work out the values of X and Y. Right, I'm going to give you, what's the time now? I'm going to give you 5 minutes for both of those questions. So in question A, X, I keep saying question A, question 1, X, and question 2, X and Y. When you give your answers, guys, let's give it as 1, X equals, and then our reason, 2, X equals our reason, Y equals our reason, just so that when we see your answers on the chat, we know which answer's which. But let's give those ones a try and see what we come up with. So again, you've got 2 reasons that you know, angles in a triangle, an exterior angle of a triangle. As long as it fits with what you're working with, let's give it a try. I'm trying to find out what the hammering is. I'm actually going to mute myself, guys, because I feel like this hammering is so loud. Unless I'm hoping someone's going to go sort it out. No problem, thank you. And guys, if you want to start with the second question and then do the first one, that's fine. At the end of the day, as long as you've got answers for both, I'm happy. Remember, obviously, guys, to give your reasons as well, please. I want to see reasons. Remember, we've had this discussion before, especially in grade 8 and grade 9. Every reason you give is worth a mark. And so if you're not giving reasons, you're losing marks unnecessarily. I'm going to give you 3 more minutes. It's basically until 20 past. And remember, guys, often there's multiple ways to get your answer. And so when I do the answers in 2 minutes time, just bear in mind that your reason might look a bit different to mine, but you're getting the same answer. That's fine. Okay. Especially once we start dealing with more than just one angle that we're looking for, it's often going to be the case that we have got or multiple different reasons for the same answer. I'll try as we go along, as I always do, to give you those different reasons. Often there's 2 or 3. There's not like 7 different ways to do it. So I will try my best to give you alternate reasons as we go along, but just bear it in mind as we do the answers. All right, I'm going to give you 1 more minute. You know, guys, when I do these 2 questions, I'm going to use the 2 reasons that we've learned. So exterior angles of a triangle and sum of angles on Okay, guys, let's have a look. So the first one, what we see is that obviously we've got a triangle here. Importantly, what we see is that because this is an extension of one of our sides, the angle 2x is created between essentially extension of a side and a side of a triangle. So it is an exterior angle to our triangle. And so what that means is that if I want that exterior angle, I would have to add together the 2 opposite interior angles, so 65 and x minus 5. And because I know that, I can set up an equation. So the exterior angle 2x is equal to x minus 5 plus 65 degrees, the sum of the two opposite interior angles. And my reason here is exterior angle of triangle. Okay, now that I've set up an equation, all I need to do is solve for x. So using inverse operations, I'm going to have 2x minus x. It was plus x, but now when I bring it over, it's minus, is equal to minus 5 plus 65 degrees. 2x minus x is x, and negative 5 degrees plus 65 degrees is then just 60 degrees. So in this case, x is. Now guys, remember, you can go and double check yourself. If you go and substitute in, you should get that your statement of exterior angle is true. So 2 times 60 gives us an angle of 120, and 60 minus 5 gives us an angle of 55 degrees. If I take 55 plus 65, I get 120. And so it does equal my exterior angle. So remember, there's always a way to check through substitution that your initial statement does actually hold true based on the answer that you've got. Oh, okay. Right, when it then comes to a question 2. Now, guys, again, you don't have to answer it in alphabetical order. So if you started with Y, that's fine. Don't know where the rest of that sentence is going. Cool. So I'm going to start with Y, just because if I do want to use exterior angles for X, I need to know what Y is. So again, if I have a look at my diagram, I've got my triangle here of 81, 69, and Y degrees, which means that I've got sum of angles in a triangle. So Y plus 81 degrees plus 69 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. My reason, sum of angles in triangle. Now, again, grade 8s, you do not ever have to answer in alphabetical order unless the question tells you to. Sometimes it's easier to answer in alphabetical order, not necessarily always. It's really up to you. The only time you have to do it is if I tell you to, basically. So 81 and 69 are like terms. If I add them together, I get 150 degrees. I'm going to use my inverse operations. I'm going to subtract 150 on both sides, and I get a Y value of 30. Okay, so this Y angle that I've just worked out is 30 degrees. I always like to put it on my diagram in case it helps me later on to go and work out more information. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, depends. Right, so I've got X. I don't know what on earth I'm doing. Doing all the things, whatever. Now I've got Y rather, now I need to find X. So if I look at where X is an exterior angle to my triangle, which means it's equal to me adding together my two opposite interior angles. So X is equal to 81 plus 30 degrees because of exterior angles of a triangle. And then if I add 81 plus 30, I get an answer of 111 degrees for X. You could have also used angles on a straight line to get X. It's probably the, actually I say it's probably the easier one. It's up to you. So you could have used angles on a straight line to go get X. There's no really other way that you can do this, but that is your alternative reason there. So you don't have to start with Y, no. You could have started with X using angles on a straight line, and then you could have gone to Y, and you could have then used sum of angles in a triangle or exterior angle of a triangle. It's up to you. Depends where you started, depends which reason you saw first. And like I say, the order you answer it doesn't matter. As long as at the end of the day, you give me an answer for X, an answer for Y, and both of them have the appropriate reasons, you're sorted. All right, so guys, just in case, let's take screenshots of those two. I'm actually gonna, no, I'm not, I don't know. Oh, wild, okay, sorry. Take screenshots of those two. I'm hoping there's no questions just because this is a revision. But if there are any questions, please raise your hand and ask me. Otherwise, we're going to have a look at our new reason for the day. Ziva?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was just wondering, can you please explain number 1 again with how to work out x?
Okay, cool. So number 1, what I saw, let me just grab a highlighter here so that we can see what's going on. Okay, so number 1, what I saw was that this 2x was an exterior angle. So what it meant was if I say 65 plus x minus 5, I have to get that angle. And so that's what I set up here. 2x, my exterior angle, must be equal to the 65 plus the x minus 5. So I've added those two together. And then all I need to do is I need to solve my equation. Because I identified that exterior angle and I know which angles I need to add together to get it, I can set up an equation I can solve for x. So in solving my equation, what we need to remember is that whenever we deal with inverse operations, we need to know what that means. So this, on the right-hand side, this x was positive. When I bring it over to join the 2x on the left, it becomes negative. And so when I go and add my like terms, 2x minus x gives me x. And then on the right-hand side, I was just left with the constant. Minus 5 plus 65 gives me a value of 60. Like 60 was not coming out of my mouth at any point there. So once I've set up my equation, I'm able to solve for x. Okay, so Ziva, I hope that makes sense. If not, obviously just let us know. Joshua, x is 111. Just be careful. So again, if I just quickly go through x again, because x is an exterior angle to my triangle, it's equal to 81 plus what I worked out y to be, which is 130, and x plus 81 plus 30 gives me 111. Kamva, what about the 2? Kamva, I'm assuming you mean in question 1, unless I've just completely lost the plot, which is entirely possible. So the 2 hasn't disappeared. The 2 is still there. Here's the 2. So there's the 2x. 2x, it was only once I then added my like terms, 2x minus x. If I've got 2 x's and I take one away, I've got 1x. That's why I've got a singular x in my answer there. It's just the adding and subtracting of like terms. So I didn't ignore the 2x. It was just once I simplified my like terms, the coefficient was no longer 2. So again, I hope that makes sense. All right, guys, I'm hoping we've got our screenshots. So let us have a look at our next reason, and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, so our next triangle or geometric reason to do with triangles that we're going to learn is angles opposite equal sides. Now, this is quite a useful one. It's also one that works or intertwines a lot with the other reasons with triangles that we've learned. So this one often goes hand in hand with sum of angles in a triangle. But let's first have a look at the reason, and then we can start looking at what it deals with. So importantly, this is when you are given a triangle with 2 equal sides. That is essentially an isosceles triangle. But basically what you want to look out for is me having given you 2 equal sides in a triangle. If you have been given that, you then know that the 2 angles that are opposite those equal sides are also equal. So if we go to our diagram, here's my equal sides with the pink. That therefore means that the angles opposite those equal sides, angle A and angle B in this diagram, are equal. And so what we have here is angles opposite equal sides. So what you need to look out for, I'm going to say it again, is you need to look out for 2 sides of a triangle being equal, or you need to look out for an isosceles triangle. And from there, you can then say that the angles opposite the equal sides are equal to each other. Okay, now again, guys, I know that some of you have done this reason already in school. That's absolutely fine, but we are going to practice it together to make sure we all understand. Right, so if I just shove this up a smidge. If we have a look at our first example, I'm going to leave the reason there just that we can still obviously refer back to it. We're going to try and figure out what x is. Before I do that, Zandile, the 3 dots mean therefore. Okay. So guys, as I've said to you before in geometry, you need to start training your eye to look out for certain things. So the first thing that I'm noticing here is the fact that I've been given 2 equal sides. I've been told that those 2 sides are equal to each other. I know that because of those strikes on the sides. And that automatically tells me that the angles opposite them are equal to each other. And so sometimes in questions like this, we don't actually have to do much working out. We don't really have to do much of anything in this question. We know that those angles are equal to each other because they're opposite the equal sides. So I can start with my statement, which tells me that x is equal to 42 degrees. And look how I don't have to do anything. I've worked out what x is, but I do have to give my reason. And my reason here is the fact that they are the angles opposite 2 equal sides in my triangle. And so again, you need to start training your eye to look out for equal sides, parallel sides, equal angles. All of these bits of information that we either put in the question or diagram that is going to help us answer the question. Okay. So again, the reason that we're looking at here is the fact that when we've been given 2 sides equal in a triangle, the angles opposite those 2 equal sides are then also equal to each other. Right, I'm going to take a second. Does anyone have any questions? You can take a screenshot of this if you'd like. I'm going to ask you to try a couple questions yourself, but I think we'll take a little brain break before we do some questions on this. So before we do questions, does anyone have anything they want to clarify before we take a little break? Okay, good, grade 8s. Alrighty. So brain break for the day. I am going to make it no, I'm not going to make it bigger, but I am just going to let you in on something. And it's not super clear. That's why I want to tell you. Guys, in this first one, there's 2 paper clips here. Yeah, I didn't notice it at first. But if you compare the 2 diagrams, there are 2 paper clips. So in each of these pictures at the top, there are 2 paper clips as well as down there at the bottom. Okay. So just bear that in mind when you do this brain break, the fact that there's 2 paper clips. Otherwise, the second equation seems a bit iffy. If you have forgotten, remember what I want you to do is find the value of this last equation down at the bottom there. I think I would be more okay if you said base angles of an isosceles triangle, but we try and steer away from that, especially because later on in geometry, you're going to also learn reasons that have to do with angles opposite equal sides, but they're not actually in a triangle necessarily. And so when we start working with circles, when we've got lines that are equal in a circle, the angles opposite them are also equal. So I would try to steer away from that. I would be more okay if you said base angles of isosceles triangle. That I would be a little bit more okay with, but try and stick with angles opposite equal sides. Zandile, yeah, our classes do carry on because it is unfortunately a shorter holiday this, what is it, September, October holiday. So classes do carry on. I don't think, I stand to be corrected, I don't think they're like the special classes that you had over the June, July holidays where they were like fun classes. I think we just carry on with work if I'm not mistaken. So we'll just carry on with wrapping up term 3 and then starting with term 4 work because it is unfortunately such a short holiday. I mean, it's like a week for our lessons. So yeah, they do carry on. All right, I'm waiting for the right answer on the chat there. I'm just making sure I do remember the right answer. Okay, I haven't seen the correct answer yet. I drank too much water. Zandile, well done. Very nice. Our correct answer is indeed 65. Well done. So if you want to raise your hand to explain it for us, we can see how we got that answer, or how you got that answer rather, of 65. So Zandile, if you want to raise your hand to explain it for us, very nicely done. That's okay, Zandile. If you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. I'm also more than happy to help you through it. But if you aren't feeling keen, that is absolutely fine. I'm more than happy to ask the next person if you would like that, or if you'd prefer that rather. Hi, Zandile.
Hello, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good, and well done on putting your hand up. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
bro, I just found out that 8 plus 8 plus 8 is equals to 24. So,
Good.
but for the other one, it's 4 times 4 plus, yeah, it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found out that the pens are 9, not 9, 7.
Good.
They're 7. And I multiplied 7 by 9
Good.
and added by 9.
Excellent.
I got 72. So that is how I got 65.
Excellent. Well done, Zandile. That was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, yes.
All right, so guys, just this last one, well, I mean, the last one, the second one, and the third one, just remember BODMAS. So Zandile got the correct answer because BODMAS was used. So you need to remember to do BODMAS. So 7 times 8 needs to happen first. I'm shocking at my timetables, which is 56. And then only do we add the 9, which gives us our answer of 65. All right, so please remember BODMAS, and yes, please remember the fact that there were 2 paper clips. It threw me as well if I didn't see the 2 paper clips. I was getting weird answers. So it's really important that we look carefully, and that's also why I did say right there 2 paper clips, because it actually isn't super clear. But well done. Alrighty, guys. So we're gonna have a look at some more examples. The next one I want to have a look at is this one here, and then I'm going to give you some to try by yourselves. So I want to have a look at this one here because this is slightly different to the question we started with, because hopefully what you can see here is that the angle that I've given you is not actually one of the angles opposite our equal sides. Let's first have a look and see what information we've been given. Once again, I have been given equal sides, and I know that because of those tick marks on my side. So side AB is equal to BC. Those lines on the sides tell me that. What I therefore know is the fact that the angle opposite, so this angle BAC, is equal to the angle BCA. But what I need to bear in mind is that I don't know what angle C is. All I know is that it's equal to X. I have, however, been given the fact that this angle at B is 120 degrees. So I just need to think a little carefully about what I have here and how I can get to where I need to be. Now, guys, what's really important is this first statement. You have to make this first statement. There's no, ma'am, if I leave it out, is it fine? You have to, okay? If you don't make this first statement, everything else you do later on is based on an assumption. So you need to do this first statement. The first statement is that angle BCA, so if we go B to C to A, so this angle up here that I've colored in, and then it's disappeared, so this angle over here is equal to X, right? We know it's equal to X because it's angle opposite equal side, and my reason is exactly that. Now, guys, it's so important that we do make this statement because only now could I potentially use sum of angles in a triangle, because technically I've got a value for all three of my angles, and now I can go and solve for X. So now I can say X plus 120 should be equal to 180 degrees because of sum of angles in triangle. If, and I'm going to say this again, if you do not make this first statement, you are then assuming that you've got two X values. You have to show me that you know that you've got two angles that are X because of angles opposite equal sides before you can go and do interior or sum of angles of a triangle. Otherwise, you are making an assumption. So it's really, really important that you make that first statement that you know the angles are opposite equal sides. Okay, now we need to solve for X. So X plus X is 2X plus 120 is equal to 180. Inverse operations tells me that I need to subtract 120 on both sides. So 180 minus 120, which tells me that 2X is equal to 60. Remember, I don't want the value of 2X, I want the value of X. So I need to divide both sides by 2. And so X is equal to 30 degrees. Now again, grade 8, check yourself. If this is 30 and this is 30, because they're both X, because we made that statement right at the start, 30 plus 120 is 150, plus 30 is 180. I get my angles in a triangle. So there's a way to check yourself and make sure that you do. But really importantly, guys, for this one, we have to state that we know that angle BCA is equal to X, because it's only based on that we could then go and do angles in a triangle. Right, so those are the two sort of ways we can ask you this angles opposite equal sides reason. It's important to know both. Obviously, we can now start combining it with other reasons and multiple angles at the same time. But those are sort of the two ways we can ask it. Either straightforward, it's equal to the angle given, or not so straightforward. We first have to say which angles are equal, and then we can use sum of angles in a triangle. All right, so what I am going to do is, just in case you didn't get the first question, so I'm going to do that. You can take screenshots. If anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask me. You are going to try 3 and 4 so that if you don't have questions, you can get started on those two. I will make them bigger now in a second, but just while you're taking screenshots and while I'm answering questions. Lubanzi?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Ma'am, how do we differentiate between the parallel lines and the equal lines?
Okay, so guys, difference between parallel, or the way we know we've got parallel versus equal. So if I had something like this, parallel is with arrows on it, equal is with a line. So this represents equal, and it doesn't have to be one line, it could be 2 lines, it can be 3 lines, as long as it's a stripe or a line. The arrow means parallel.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Sure. And guys, that's really important. You need to be able to, exactly as Labanzi said, differentiate between equal and parallel. So guys, think of it parallel. We're saying that they have the same gradient or they run in the same direction. So those arrows are pointing that they're going in the same direction. The strike marks is then the equal sign. Zandilia, I don't know what you mean, ma'am, the last part. So if you can maybe ask or if you can raise your hand to let me know. Because there we go. Zandilia?
Yes, so I meant that you didn't show the last part for us
What
to
last part?
screenshot this one for x is equals to 30 degrees.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, golly, I'm so sorry. What a silly nana. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry, guys, I did not even notice that I had left off the answer. My apologies. There you go if you need it. Otherwise, you're trying 3 and 4. I'll make it bigger in a second, seeing as I made an oopsie with the screenshots. I'm just going to leave it there quickly. Right, otherwise, I hope we all got it. We're trying 3 and 4 by ourselves, please. So guys, just to go back to what Labanzi had asked, in question 4, I now have 3 strike marks on the line. It doesn't change the fact though, that it's telling me that this side is equal to that side. Anytime you see strikes or lines on a side, it means that they're equal. Okay, so we're giving those a try. I love that I don't even have to ask you. I see that everyone's putting answers in the chat with a reason. Well done. I'm so glad we're getting into that habit. That is awesome. Okay, so guys, I know I've just said it, but please remember to give your reasons on the chat. And just think very, very carefully about what information you have, as well as how you can then use that to work out your value of X that you're looking for. Remember reasons, guys? Please also, I didn't actually ask this, but please number your answer. So please say 3 and then X equals, and then 4, X equals 4, Y equals. Just so that we don't get confused with the X's. Guys, for sum of angles in a triangle, interior angles, you don't have to state what type of triangle it is. So Sibonga, it's absolutely fine that you've said interior angles of a scalene triangle. It's not necessary. As long as you say interior angles of a triangle, that's fine. But we won't mark you wrong if you do add scalene or isosceles or whatever. It's fine. It's not necessary, but it is fine. It looks like we're slowly on question 4, so another minute or 2, and then I'm going to go through it. And remember, guys, double check yourself. With triangles, the easiest way is to make sure that if you add all the interior angles, you get 180. So just double check that you agree with everything you've told yourself or everything you've written down. Nice, Eva. I like how we set up our answer there. Well done. Nice, show me. Hey guys, let's have a look. So I'm going to start with question 3. This is pretty much the same as the one I just did with you guys. So we have been told that the sides AC as well as the side BC or CV, it doesn't really matter, are equal because of those lines on them. And because they're equal, the angles opposite them are equal. Now, I don't know any of those values, but remember, you have to first make the statement that you know that angle ABC, so this angle up here, is equal to X because of angles op equal sides. You have to make that statement because your next statement is going to be the fact that X plus 100 must be equal to 180 because of sum of angles in triangle. And you can only make that statement if you have made this first statement because the 2x comes from you saying that angle A and angle B are equal. So you have to make that first statement. Once you have done that though, x plus x is 2x plus 100 equals 180. We're going to use inverse operations. So subtract 100 on both sides, which leaves us with 2x equals 80 because 180 minus 100 is 80. Divide both sides by 2. I'm getting that my x is equal to 40 degrees. Now again, check yourself. If I go put 40 into the values that I said are x, so 40 and 40, 40 plus 100 is 140, plus 40 is 180. I get my sum of angles in a triangle. Right, if I have a look at question 4, sorry, move my little me. Right, so if I have a look at question 4 again, see what you have on your diagram before you start trying to do things before you know what's going on. That your two sides are equal to each other because of the lines on the sides. You know that those are equal, which means that you know the angles opposite each other are equal. So x is equal to 35 degrees, angles opposite equal sides. And once you have x, and again guys, fill it in on your diagram as you go along because it might help you to work out the rest. Once we have x, we've got 2 of our 3 angles of our triangle. So y plus 35 is equal to 180 because of sum of angles in triangle. And I can solve for y. So 35 plus 35 is 70. So y plus 70 equals 180. I'm going to subtract 70 on both sides. So y is equal to 110 degrees. And so in question 4, I got both x and y. Now again, guys, this first statement. So in question 3, this first statement showing that you know that angle A and angle B are equal to each other because of angles opposite equal sides is so important. You have to make that statement. All right, to take your screenshots, Any questions, you can raise your hand and ask me. Remember, today is poll day, so you'll see the poll come up in a few seconds. Just want to make sure everyone's got their screenshots. Everyone who needs to ask a question has asked their question. Right, and guys, you can't leave until you've done the poll, please. It literally will take you 2 seconds. And again, any questions, please ask. I don't think there were any questions on the chat. If I have missed your question, please ask. I'm fairly certain that I haven't. Obviously, if I have, just shout and let me know. Watobe? There we go.
Hello, ma'am.
You there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, what's your question?
I wanted to ask, how did you, where did the 70 come from at question 4?
Okay, cool. So the 70 has come from, let me just grab a different color. If I add together 35 and 35, so if I add together the like terms, I get 70. So all I did was I just neatened up the left-hand side so that I didn't have as many terms to work with.
Oh, okay.